What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Dad Project. Thank you once again for taking the time out of your day to join us on our podcast. So, this week I want to talk about an equation that I'm sure we have all caught ourselves up in at different times. And it's the one where we have something that we want to do or we want to implement or we want to buy or whatever the case might be. We have one of these things in our life and we tell ourselves that I'll get around to doing that when this happens. When this condition is satisfied, I am going to go ahead and do that. For example, I'm going to be able to have more time to train when work quietens down, or I'm going to be able to commit to doing more of this when the kids get older, or I'm going insert whatever you want into that phrase. It is something that I know at different times in my life, it has been something that I've told myself around certain and particular things, and it's something that I come up against and I see a lot in people who I talk to on a weekly basis. And the thing is, while that saying, that criteria and the thing you're looking to do can seem like it's well intentioned, the fact is a lot of the time that criteria that you're waiting to be met probably never happens, and for a lot of us it never actually happens in the time frame that we think it's going to. And that becomes an issue, because what happens when it never does come around? What happens if work never quietens down? Or what happens if you change the job and the new job has more of a time commitment or is a bigger impact or a bigger burden on you, and that time you've been looking to prioritize for yourself never actually manifests because that criteria that you've been putting out there in front of you never actually comes to fruition. And this happens so much with a lot of people that I work with, and I can probably look back on my life and see a lot of times that it has happened to me. And the underlying thing with that is, if you believe that it is really important to you to do that thing, so let's use the spending time on ourselves as something that we're working towards. If you're waiting for work to quieten down, for the kids to get a little bit older, for a little bit more money to come in, if you're waiting for all those things to happen, then what happens when it doesn't happen? When you never get there? Because at the moment, there is so much unpredictability there in the world, in what could happen in our professional lives, what can happen in our personal lives. Like, we just don't know. So if there is something that you feel is important for you to start, waiting for a set of criteria to be satisfied before you start it, while that thought can be well intentioned, may never get you the result that you're after. And that begs the question of, is that result or is that thing really that important to you? Because if it is, I'm sure you're able to find a way. Is spending time on yourself important? Or maybe it is a matter of you really don't have, or you lack the tools to create that space to find some time to spend on yourself, to do the thing that you want to do, to create the money that you want to do. Because there's one thing that I've learned in my life. Before we had kids and even before we were married, I was very much one of these people that was like, say yes to it and we'll work out how to do it along the way. And I've still got a lot of that in me. But then as the kids came along, it become more about, you do a little bit more of a risk assessment, because you don't just have to worry about yourself. You've got other people that you've got to worry about. And that was when I would really notice in my life me doing these things to myself. When this condition is satisfied, then I'm going to be able to take this action. And whenever a lot of that stuff started to come up, what I would find is this condition never ever really got truly satisfied to a point where I could actually take that action. And then the action that I wanted to take, which, if I looked at the benefits, the features and benefits, the pros and cons of taking that action, is something that I really wanted to do, I just kept putting it off. And then I would get frustrated, I would get angry with not just that particular thing, but with everything else in my life, because then it was like, well, everything that I'm doing here is not enabling me to do that. So I'm getting frustrated, I'm getting angry, and I'm not able to actually take a step forward on those things because I was waiting for the right time, the right place, or the right amount of money to come in. And that right set of circumstances never, ever, ever eventuated. And I'm not saying that you need to jump in to every single thing head first that you think you want to do. I think you have to look at things critically, and you have to be able to analyze, is this truly going to be of benefit to me? Is undertaking that training program going to be something that is going to enrich and nourish my life? Is allocating some time for me to go for a walk, do some meditation, spend some time on recovery, is that going to enhance the things that are really important to me? My family, professionally, emotionally, physically, mentally, are those things going to be enhanced by me taking that action? Because simply jumping into everything is not going to be the right response, because you're going to find that not everything is going to be the right fit for you. But if there is something that you know, because you've looked at it, you know you need to do, you know you need to spend some time on yourself, you know you need to get moving so that you can be a better role model for your wife, your kids, your partner, the other members of your family and your community, and you tell yourself that there's a moment there where you can start, and you go, no, I can't start because I don't have the time, because I need to wait for work to quieten down. Because in my experience, personally, and with the people that I work with, work never quietens down. It might quieten down for a second, but if you live a busy life, the only way you're going to be able to implement that is to take the jump, go and do it, not wait for a particular set of circumstances to be satisfied in order to progress yourself forward, and learn the tools to implement it within your life, whether that be reorganizing your priorities. Potentially, if it's a time thing, maybe it's less TV, it's less time on our phone. How much time are you wasting on things that maybe aren't enriching and nourishing your life and your goals and moving you in the direction that you want to move? Maybe there's other things, maybe there's wasted time, maybe it's that you just don't know how to analyze how much time you've got. Potentially, if it's a work thing, maybe you need to go and have a conversation with your superior and just say, hey, look, I need to do this for me so that I can actually be a better employee, and these 12-hour days have to stop. I need to be able to go and spend an hour 3 times a week on myself so I can feel better about, I can move better, I can get more energy and be more productive in the time that I'm at work, rather than just waiting for things to quieten down. Potentially, the thing that needs to happen is action needs to be taken to move you in that direction. And if you find that there's a lot of these instances in your life where you're waiting for a criteria to be satisfied before you take the jump or take action, then I would put it to you, and I would question whether that thing is actually that important. Because if it is that important, you will generally find a way. You will find a way to take action. You will find a way to move yourself forward. And even if it doesn't seem like there's enough time in the day, which I get it, sometimes there doesn't seem like that, you will be able to etch out the time. You will be able to potentially find the finances to be able to do it. You'll be able to spend more time with your kids, spend more time with your family, and potentially create more time for yourself, because time is a big one. Time is a big one for all of us when it can't, because it's something that we can't get back. And I think we all know that inherently, especially with kids. We watch them grow up so fast, and we see that time flies by. And when it comes to ourselves and doing something for ourselves, waiting for something to be satisfied so that we can go and we can take action on that, we forget that that time goes by quickly as well, because we can tell ourselves that, and then all of a sudden 6 months later, 12 months later, the thing that we were waiting for to happen, waiting for work to quieten down, waiting for extra money to come in, it never happens. And then rather than taking action when we felt we needed to, we're now 12 months down the track and things have potentially gotten worse, which means the action that you need to take to reverse whatever has happened has almost gotten more severe. So the thing with, I'll get around to it whenever X happens, I'm going to do Y. The thing with that and giving yourself that criteria in a lot of aspects of your life is that a lot of the time, that thing that you are trying to wait to be satisfied will never be 100% perfect. There will never be the perfect time for you to take action and move forward on something that you want. But if it is important to you, and you know it is important to you, sometimes you just need to take the approach of, fuck it, I'm going to do it, and I'll work out how to make this work within my life as I go through. Get some help, move everything forward, and if it's important to you, you can take action. Just be aware, this is not going to work for every single major decision. There are going to be roadblocks in front of, let's say you want to buy a house. You are going to have to go through lending criteria. So yes, something like that, you are potentially going to have to wait for a particular criteria to be satisfied before you take that step in order to do that. But that doesn't mean you can't start taking action to move yourself closer to be able to get to that end goal. And this is the thing, sometimes if you're just looking at the end goal and you're looking at the overall thing that you want to choose, maybe it's not the big action that needs to be taken. Maybe there's a smaller action you can start taking now and plan it out and step it out until you get to that point where you're working towards that big goal. But for a lot of things, especially as it pertains to ourselves, if you are waiting for something to happen in order to take action on something that is important to you, there is a very good chance that whatever you are waiting for is never going to be 100% perfect. So if you feel like it's the right time for you and you feel like it's time to go and things aren't perfect, maybe it's time to take that jump and maybe it's time to start moving forward. I know I try not to do a whole bunch of motivational stuff, but hopefully that stops you from overthinking around things, because it is hard. We have a lot of other people to look after other than ourselves. Once you bring kids into the mix, obviously we need to look after them. They're our priority. Our families will always be our priority. But you need to look after yourself. So if you are waiting for something to be, if you are waiting for work to get quieter, you are waiting till you've got more time, more money, whatever the case might be, in order to do something for you, then maybe it's time right now to just start taking action on that and working out how it's going to fit into your life, rather than waiting for your life to fit it in for you, because no one's going to come and save you. You're the one that's got to take action. You're the one that's got to move things forward. Hopefully that helps. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if there's times in your life where you've told yourself that I'm going to wait for this to happen before I take action on this, because I know for me it's happened a bit, and it's happened probably even more once kids come into the mix. So go get it. Enjoy life, enjoy yourselves, enjoy this time, and hopefully we can all move forward and all get better together. So thanks for joining us. Please make sure you have liked, shared, and subscribed on all the podcast platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, all those other places. We're also on YouTube as well. Jump on our socials. So Instagram at The Unstoppable Dad and Facebook The Unstoppable Dad Project. Share it around. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hopefully you've seen some benefit of it. Share it around with anybody that you think would get some benefit from what we're doing here. So thanks very much. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.